Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8, and it appears an idea I had was a bit too overly ambitious. Because, like I said, I still like the idea of the trilingual idea, of being able to sing a song in 3 different languages in one video, primarily English, German, and Japanese. And the idea is to primarily focus on songs that are in English, and then sing them both in the native language as well as in German and Japanese as well. And then the idea of taking German songs and singing them in the German, but also translating English and Japanese and singing in those languages. And mostly Japanese, it's basically Tokyo City Pop and anime songs that I would sing, in the native Japanese, and then in German and in English. Now that being said, I'm going to play Google Translate for the song Wake Up Hate from Korn. If you want to hear it in English, just look up the song by Korn. Or heck, listen to the previous video of this same title, the trilingual, quadlingual, pentalingual. I'll put a link in the description though. Okay, so I'll put a link in the description and in the comments as long as I don't forget. But I'm going to use Google Translate. I'm just going to let the text-to-speech say the song in German, and then I'll let the text-to-speak say the song in Japanese, and then I'll let the text-to-speak say the song in French. I'm not sure about, the time it would take to actually learn how to pronounce each of these words, even in German, which is the one I'm more familiar with at this point. I don't know any languages other than English, though I do primarily want to learn German and Japanese. Heck, maybe one day I'll go visit Germany and Japan. But, I do have a bit of interest in, say, French and Hebrew as well, but not nearly as much. Primarily, I want to learn to speak German and Japanese. That being said, that is, as much as I try to say, okay, it's just a matter of putting some effort in on it, it's, dear God, learning German is going to take, or Japanese is going to take years and years, and of studying it, learning vocabulary, learning to write it. Dear God, with the hiragana and kanji for Japan, I don't know how people learn that before they're 20 years of fucking study. It's just, but at least then I feel like there's some affinity, like Japanese and German, and of course I feel like there's some ability that I could grasp at how to. I'll also put a link to the description of in the description. I'll put a link to the part 1 of this thing where I did some singing of the Korn song "Wake Up Hate" in English, but I'll also put a second link, which will be, I tried to do a song "Bestrafe mich" by Rammstein. So, but yeah. This is a very overly ambitious thing. Maybe I can try to come back to it at some point, but it's just the amount of time this would take to put in, and I just want to bring up the idea, but I might be able to try to revisit this in the future, but it's just one of those things that's taking, it's going to be a work in progress. And I know I definitely want to try to do a lot of icebreaker songs, but I just want to mainly focus on trying to sing those in German, even though I haven't really practiced much more than just laying in bed and passively listening to it. Which, yeah. But, yeah, so I'm going to let Google text-to-speech say it in German and Japanese and in French. Now you're saying, well, you said Hebrew is also here's the thing. I know Infected Mushroom's done a lot of stuff. Some of it's just no words at all, some of it's English. Heck, one of them had Jonathan Davis actually singing a song with them. Heck, they've even done covers of Linkin Park. Infected Mushroom has actually covered Linkin Park. So, the lead singers of Korn, Linkin Park, and Infected Mushroom are all friends, as far as I understand. I still think it'd be cool to have, Korn and Rammstein do a tour together. Also, Disturbed I don't know if Serge Tonkin will want to get on that. I think he retired. I don't know. But main thing is Hebrew. Apparently, there's different variations of that, to the point that you have the apparently the traditional Hebrew that is considered the actual language, but then there's also apparently Yiddish, which is like a German dialect of it, as far as I understand. That's my understanding of it. Because it gives me multiple different options to translate it in Google, and I can't even begin to read the markings used to show how the Hebrew is written. I know that's how Hebrew is written, but I can't even begin to make sense of it. But I can tell that between that traditional Hebrew, as far as I believe it's called that, I don't know, because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but between that one form of Hebrew as well as Yiddish, I may not be able to read either one, but I can see there is a difference in how it's written. Like, they're apparently, like, it's like you can tell there's similar markings, but there's differences. And I'm like, I don't understand the differences, but I can tell there are differences. I just don't know enough to understand what those differences are. All I know is I don't know how to even what sounds any of those things make. And then, of course, there's a Judeo-Greek form of it, which, again, I don't really know that either. I don't even know what form Infected Mushroom used in the song Send Me an Angel, which they, sang in Hebrew. All I know is that Google Translate, the text-to-speech, doesn't understand how to say any of it. It doesn't matter what form of the Hebrew language it is. Text-to-speech. Google, I don't know how to make it. It's like you don't even have the option to play an audio clip of it. The fucking AI computer doesn't know how to say this stuff. So I don't know why. All I know is I can't play it for you guys to listen to it. Even then, if I could, I wouldn't even know which version to play. But I'll say this. I at least feel like I have some affinity. That I could learn German. That I could learn Japanese. But I'll tell you right now, there is no chance in hell that I would ever be able to learn, say, Chinese, or Russian, or Vietnamese, or Korean. The stuff is just looking at it, it's beyond confusing. At least, say, looking at the Werden dich Versachen ich möchte alles kaputt, and I'm just like grabbing a random part of the Das es brennt, wir werden, like Aufwecken. I can at least grasp that a little. And of course, I'm much less familiar with Japanese, despite the massive amount of anime and Japanese music I've listened to. It's kind of like when I first started really trying, because I've listened to like just about every Rammstein song in the past, and I've listened to it a lot, and I looked up the translations like a decade or two ago, and it's just, even then, when you actually sit down, because it's one thing, even if it's a song in your own language, when you sit down to actually try to sing a song in your own language that you never tried to sing before, you realize that you don't really know the timing, you don't know how to enunciate certain words. A lot of times you find out that there's lyrics you didn't even understand, or you hadn't paid attention to, or you had missed, or you had misunderstood, or you heard different words than what were actually being said. As well as you understand that not just the tones and the rhythm that the singer goes with, but just saying the words in a certain way, even in your own native language, it's a challenge. I mean, heck, there was a few parts in some English songs I come to where it's just like, even though I've heard the song so many times, and even though it's words, like I understand fully what's being said, and I understand, like, it's not a struggle it's just trying to recreate that, and it's like watching Jackie Chan do martial arts. Yes, I can watch Jackie Chan do amazing karate moves, but I don't have the fucking Sharingan. I can't just watch him and copy it. I'm not Sasuke Uchiha. I don't have a Sharingan. I can't just watch him and replicate it. I can try. I'll make myself look dumb, but I'll still try. And that's my whole endeavor of martial arts, is me trying to do things but being awful at them. But then that's everything. Okay. But anyway, just, it's an interesting idea. But yeah, let's go in. So I'm going to have Google Translate. And the text doesn't need to take a breath. Like, it's like, oh my god, I feel like there should be a speed slider on this. What if I wanted to just slowly listen to this? I feel like I would have to, like, copy and paste just individual sentences and play them over and over to get used to it. Because that's what I was kind of doing when I was trying to, like, get into, like, some of the other songs. Like I'm trying to remember one to say, like one of the Rammstein songs, where I would just, like, have a couple sentences and just try to do word by word so I get used to it. Whereas this is just, it's such sensory overload. Just all of it at once. It is like, it doesn't feel like, and there's a couple times where there's a brief pause. Like, oh, like, did the computer take a breath? Okay, so I'm gonna quit rambling and we're gonna listen to the song "Wake Up Hate" by Korn as done by Google Translate text to speech, doing it in German, then Japanese, and then in French. So here is, also I copied and pasted these lyrics and put it in my comments under one of my community posts. It's Lunar D8 shares the top 69 anime. I think it's entry number 9 I did, which is Ninja Scroll. It's a really great movie from back in, like, I think the early 90s. I like anime, okay? But yeah, Ninja Scroll, community posts. You're like, well, what's your community post? It's mainly just, I do polls of, like, Tenchi versus Date Alive. I talk about cool anime, talk about video games, and I tend to ramble on about whatever stuff I feel like talking about. Mostly it's me, well, basically, I sound insane, but it's me just talking about whatever's on my mind. It's going to be an incoherent mess, and honestly, it's probably stuff that would just have everyone be like, yeah, Lunar D8's just weird, and this is... But then again, it's... I don't know, I kind of already expect everyone to hate me, so whatever. It's like, yeah, you just read the comments of, like, it's like what kind of animes I like. You're like, oh, great, this guy likes Gundam Wing. I'm like, yeah, I like Gundam Wing. Fuck you. I think it's cool, and I like the way the Gundams look. Okay, here is Wake Up and Hate by Korn being sung by Google Translate Text to Speech. German.
Wir haben einen beschissenen Grund zum Leben, wen interessiert das wirklich? Wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden dich verarschen, ich möchte alles kaputt machen, ich möchte. Dass es brennt, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden es aufwecken, du musst es klarstellen, wir werden es aufgeben, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden dich verarschen, ich möchte alles kaputt machen. Ich möchte, dass es brennt, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden es aufwecken, ich bin die Last meines Alles. Eine offene Narbe, ich werde im Hass wiedergeboren und habe das Gefühl, dass ich nicht mehr lieben kann, ich musste leiden. Ich kann nicht mehr erwarten, kein Lieben und kein Beten, mein ganzer Hass ist für mich da, wir haben einen beschissenen Grund zum Leben, wen interessiert das wirklich? Wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden dich verarschen, ich möchte alles kaputt machen, ich möchte. Dass es brennt, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden es aufwecken, du musst es klarstellen, wir werden es aufgeben, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden dich verarschen, ich möchte alles kaputt machen. Ich möchte, dass es brennt, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden es aufwecken, ich bin der Niedergang meines Glücks. Es gibt nichts mehr, hör auf zu lieben, ich hasse immer noch. Bis ich nicht mehr hassen kann, ich musste leiden. Ich kann nicht mehr erwarten, kein Lieben und kein Beten, mein ganzer Hass ist für mich da ich bin. Ich bin dreckig, verschwendetes Stück Scheiße, ich bin ekelhaft, bring mich weg, wir haben einen beschissenen Grund zum Leben, wen interessiert das wirklich? Wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden dich verarschen, ich möchte alles kaputt machen, ich möchte. Dass es brennt, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden es aufwecken, du musst es klarstellen, wir werden es aufgeben, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden dich verarschen, ich möchte alles kaputt machen. Ich möchte, dass es brennt, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden aufwachen, wir haben einen beschissenen Grund zum Leben, wen interessiert das wirklich? Wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden dich verarschen, ich möchte alles kaputt machen, ich möchte, dass es brennt, wir werden den Hass wecken, wir werden es aufwecken.
Okay. I couldn't follow that at all. Now for Japanese.
僕らには生きる理由がめちゃくちゃあるんだ、本当に誰がクソをやるの。 私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。めちゃくちゃにしてやるよ。すべてを壊したい、刺させたい。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。起こしてやるよ。きちんと理解する必要があります。諦めるよ。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。めちゃくちゃにしてやるよ。すべてを壊したい、刺させたい。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。起こしてやるよ。私は私のすべての重荷。開いた傷跡憎しみの中で生まれ変わる、もう愛せないと感じて苦しまなければならなかった。これ以上は待ちきれない。愛も祈りもなし。私の憎しみはすべて奪われたものです。僕らには生きる理由がめちゃくちゃあるんだ。本当に誰がクソをやるの。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。めちゃくちゃにしてやるよ。すべてを壊したい、刺させたい。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。起こしてやるよ。きちんと理解する必要があります。諦めるよ。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。めちゃくちゃにしてやるよ。すべてを壊したい、刺させたい。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。起こしてやるよ。私は私の幸せの落下です。それはもうありません。愛するのをやめて、これ以上憎めなくなるまで私はまだ憎んでいる。苦しまなければならなかった。これ以上は待ちきれない。愛も祈りもなし。私の憎しみはすべて奪われたものです。私は汚いです。無駄なクソ。私は嫌だ。私を連れ去って。僕らには生きる理由がめちゃくちゃあるんだ。本当に誰がクソをやるの。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。めちゃくちゃにしてやるよ。すべてを壊したい、刺させたい。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。起こしてやるよ。きちんと理解する必要があります。諦めるよ。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。めちゃくちゃにしてやるよ。すべてを壊したい、刺させたい。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。僕らは目覚めるよ。僕らには生きる理由がめちゃくちゃあるんだ。本当に誰がクソをやるの。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。めちゃくちゃにしてやるよ。すべてを壊したい、刺させたい。私たちは憎しみを目覚めさせるつもりです。起こしてやるよ。
Somehow I feel even more lost and confused. And I was even trying to look at the Romanized version of the kanji. That's, it written out in English letters on how to pronounce it. And the amount of me being able to follow that is no. French.
Nous avons une foutue raison de vivre, qui s'en fout vraiment? Nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons te foutre en l'air, je veux tout casser, je veux que ça pique, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons le réveiller, tu dois le comprendre clairement, nous allons y renoncer, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons te foutre en l'air, je veux tout casser, je veux que ça pique, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons le réveiller, je suis le fardeau de tout. Une cicatrice ouverte, je renaîtrai dans la haine, sentant que je ne peux plus aimer, j'ai dû souffrir. Je ne peux pas attendre, plus pas d'amour et pas de prière, toute ma haine est à prendre, nous avons une foutue raison de vivre, qui s'en fout vraiment? Nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons te foutre en l'air, je veux tout casser, je veux que ça pique, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons le réveiller, tu dois le comprendre clairement, nous allons y renoncer, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons te foutre en l'air, je veux tout casser, je veux que ça pique, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons le réveiller, je suis la chute de mon bonheur. Ce n'est plus arrête d'aimer, je déteste toujours jusqu'à ce que je ne puisse plus détester, j'ai dû souffrir. Je ne peux pas attendre, plus pas d'amour et pas de prière, toute ma haine est à prendre, je suis sale merde gâchée, je suis dégoûtant, emmène-moi ailleurs, nous avons une foutue raison de vivre, qui s'en fout vraiment? Nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons te foutre en l'air, je veux tout casser, je veux que ça pique, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons le réveiller, tu dois le comprendre clairement, nous allons y renoncer, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons te foutre en l'air, je veux tout casser, je veux que ça pique, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons nous réveiller, nous avons une foutue raison de vivre, qui s'en fout vraiment? Nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons te foutre en l'air, je veux tout casser, je veux que ça pique, nous allons réveiller la haine, nous allons le réveiller.
I understood nothing. Even what sounds were what. But hey, at least it sounded pretty. Bye. French? Like I said, I am interested a bit in Hebrew and French, but I feel like those would be much more difficult for me, but still possible. But I would want primarily to go to learn German and Japanese. They're a little bit interested in Hebrew and French. But, yeah, it's just, I I eventually.